guys, welcome back to the channel. So I got the car back up on ramps again. This time I'm going to change the transmission fluid. So I guess we'll get ready to, I guess before we start, for this job you need a 13mm socket, and in my case I also need a, where is it here? 13/16 socket, because I replaced the, as soon as I bought the car, I changed all the fluids in the car. Like I changed the oil, the rear end fluid, the transmission fluid, plus the brake system, and plus the power steering system. And when I did, I put on just a factory pan basically, but it's got a drain plug in it. Reason for that is these transmissions are kind of weak, and anything you can do to try to make them last a little longer really helps. Like one, I put a transmission cooler on, and I change transmission fluid every summer, and I left the torque management on too. That also helps. They still have a couple more weak points in there that eventually the tranny, if you run the car hard at all, it will break. But anything like keeping the fluid clean and having an extra transmission cooler on and keeping your torque management on, all that will help. But eventually the tranny will break because they got a lot of weak points in them. Anyway, let's go under the car and get started. Okay, so hopefully I got the camera set up. This is hard because I'm on ramps. I don't have a lot of room. But anyway, hopefully I get the camera pointed right. So I'm kind of cheating because I got a drain plug in mine. But I will show you how to do it without a drain plug. But one thing, this big tub that I've been always used for my oil changes, for this job here you definitely want to have it if you don't have a drain plug like I do. But anyway, I get up in here. And in this case, you don't need to warm the transmission up because the fluid's pretty thin anyway, and you really don't want hot transmission fluid on your hands because you will burn your hands. So if you are doing this without a drain plug, when you get your car up on your ramps or on a hoist, whatever you use, make sure this pan, you can put your hand on it without burning, because transmission fluid will, if it's real hot, it'll take the skin right off your hands, and you don't need it warm to drain because it's thin. Now if you see the transmission fluid's pretty good color. Well, I just changed it last year. Normally what I would do is just drain it and then refill it. I wouldn't bother changing the transmission filter, but today I want to change it because I want to get a look inside, because it's been 2 summers now since I changed the filter, and the filter, there's not enough mileage on it to need a filter. But what I want is I want to be able to look inside the transmission to see what's going on. I'm trying to get all the maintenance done on the car because I'm going to be running some quarter miles. I want to get a baseline for the car, and I'm sure there's some of the subscribers out there who are wondering why I haven't run a quarter mile yet. But anyway, once I get all the maintenance done, we're going to take the car out and we're going to get a baseline, see what it runs in a quarter mile. And I have some modifications to do this year. I got not a lot, because like I say, I spent most of my budget on this channel, getting cameras and such. But I got an underdrive pulley. That won't help much, but it should help a little. The biggest thing is I got a set of 390 gears. This car's got 323s in it right now, and we're going to put 390s in it. That should help if I can get traction, because I had it out doing 0 to 60 here recently and I could not get traction. I had to ease in the throttle, which, I mean, every little bit slows down. It don't take much to lose 2 or 3/10 of a second. Anyway, we'll let this drain for a minute, and I'll get back to you. Okay guys, I'm back. I let this drain probably 5 minutes. I'll put the drain plug back in. And I don't know what the torque is on this, but I just snug it out there pretty good. And then when you put the transmission fluid in, if it's not on tight enough, it'll drip. So I don't want to put too much on, because I don't think there's a lot of threads there in this. Okay, that should be good. I'm going to clean up this pan anyway. I don't know if you can tell on camera, it's got quite a bit of oil on it. That's not from the transmission, that's from, I see I got a rear seal starting to leak on this car, which would be a lot of fun trying to fix. I'll probably let it go for as long as I can. Maybe when we do fix it, there'll be a new torque converter go in it at the same time, I don't know. Actually, today will tell us a lot, because that's why I'm doing this, is to check and see the health of the transmission. So the first thing I recommend is to go around every bolt and just slightly loosen it. The reason for that is you don't want to end up having all the bolts out and come to the last one and it not come out. Now, I've never run into that problem before, but it's definitely a possibility, so you don't want that. So I'll just go around all of them and just give them a turn. If I shake the camera, I'm sorry, but I don't got enough hands here to film this, especially on ramps. You don't got a lot of room here. Yeah, see, I'm shaking the camera real bad, sorry. As you can tell, they don't have much torque on them. I'm not sure what the torque rate or the torque spec is on this, but I will look it up, because this is one time that I do recommend using the torque wrench. The case of the transmission's aluminum. These bolts are quite small. You don't want to strip them. Now, it seems like I'm taking a long time. It's because I can't really see what I'm doing. I think that's all of them. Yeah. Okay, so I got them all loose. Now, if this didn't have a drain plug, what you do is go around the sides, the back, and, well, both sides and the back. And there's 3 up front. I take the center one out and leave the other 2 in, loosen them up so that the pan will drop down a little bit. Because as soon as it breaks the seal, there'll be fluid flying out of here everywhere. That's why I recommend this big pan, because you'll make an awful mess if you don't. Now, in my case, I don't have to worry about that, because the fluid's pretty well all out of it. So I'm going to go around and take all the bolts out. I've barely got enough room here to move my arms around. So when your car's low like this, it's hard for me to work. Probably edit a lot of this out so you guys don't have to sit and watch me taking bolts out. The 2 bolts right here, they don't have washers on them, so you want to keep them separate, because they're what holds your shift linkage in, and they don't have washers, so that's how you tell them from the others. All the other ones have washers on them. They may even be a little longer. Yeah, I'd say they're definitely longer, because it's taking forever to get it out. I'll compare them. Yeah, they're way longer. I don't know if you can see them or not. These are the two that hold the shift linkage are quite a bit longer than the others. Okay guys, I'm back. I knocked the camera over. I didn't bother putting it back up because I figured there weren't a whole lot to see. So I got all the bolts out except for the two front ones. So what you want to do, now you're going to, without the drain plug, this is going to be full of fluid. It's going to be a little bit heavy. So you're going to have to hold it with one hand while you loosen up the front two bolts. You got to have your drain pan. You got to have your drain pan available. And what you do is you lightly let the front, or the back rather, drop down. Now the fluid's going to start flowing out. Now I don't have that issue because, again, so you want to keep your hand on it because you don't want it to bend the front of your pan. And when it stops draining, then you have to take it and push it up, and then take these last two out. Oh, there goes the camera. It's not easy, but it can be done because I did it the first time. It was a pain. I may have used the jack to help hold it up. I can't remember. I think I might have, because it can be quite hard to do with one hand, like with one hand on the wrench and one hand on the pan. Now in this case we're going to pretend there's a jack there, because this would still have fluid in it if you were doing it without a drain plug. It'd still have fluid in it, so you want something to hold it up. You get the last one out. It's actually better to do this. See, there goes the whole pan. Now if that had fluid in it, there'd been fluid flying everywhere. I get this last bolt out. So you want the jack holding it up, or if you have somebody to help you, that would be a big help there. But you almost got to have it up higher than what I've got it. This is kind of low. But I've done everything with these ramps. Even though it's low, I put the exhaust on. With it being this low, it wasn't easy, I can tell you that much. And there was a few words I said that I don't allow on this channel. But there was quite a few words being said. And there's actually a few words a minute ago, because I dropped one of these bolts off camera, dropped it right in that pan, so I'm going to have to fish it out. Now I gotta bring this pan around because there will be some fluid drop, or fluid coming out of the transmission. And you gotta drop it straight down because you gotta clear the valve body and the filter. See how it's still dripping? I think you can see. So we'll let that drip. What I'm going to do is, the biggest reason for taking this pan off is I want to see what's going on inside the transmission to make sure that it's healthy. Anyway, I'll see you back out in front of the car here. Okay guys, this is what we're here to see. It's this little magnet. I want to see how bad it is. It doesn't look too bad. There's some on it, but I've seen worse. But of course this hasn't been that long. I guess it's not too bad. The magnet's just discolored anyway. I would say that the tranny's in reasonable health, but then again, I'm no expert, so I don't really know. But there wasn't much on the magnet, and the pan's clean inside. So I think think we're good to go. Okay guys, so I got the pan all clean. Now I'm going to put the gasket on it. Now what you want to do is just start your bolts. I'm going to get the camera straightened out here now. Okay, you want to lay your gasket, get it all situated where it belongs, and then just start feeding the bolts up through, just a couple threads. What this will do will help hold the gasket in place when you're putting it on. Just go around the pan. So here's the new filter, and get the seal here. And this is the seal. Most generally when you take these out, the seal stays stuck up in the transmission. So you can use pliers or something to pull it out. Now, if mine sticks up in, I'm just going to leave it and reuse it because it's not that old. And but if you want yours replaced, then you'll have to go up and probably pliers or something to pull it out. Be very careful. You don't want to ruin the mating surface in the transmission. Anyway, let's go under the transmission and see if we can get this old filter out. So, kind of gotta just rock it a little bit. It's not in there too snug. And yeah, the gasket stayed up in there, so I'm going to leave it. Like I say, it's not very old. And when I took the other one out, I had to pry and go. You know, I had to pry and stuff to get it out. I'm going to leave it. So this one, up in here, find the hole, and just press it up in. There. This is all seated in. So we're ready for the pan. Well, before I put the pan in, I want to go around with a clean paper towel, clean the mating surface. Good thing about them rubber gaskets, they don't leave much residue, but I still want to clean it. Okay. So I'm just going to go around the edge, just clean off just the old oil, basically. Okay. So now I'm going to start feeding the pan back on. Now what you didn't see before I brought this pan back under here, I went back in and cleaned it up a little bit more because while I had it out, I'd say some wind blew some like dust particles and such, grass and whatnot inside it. So you want to make sure it's absolutely clean. Let's snug a couple of these up. Snug. Get this pan out of my road. Okay guys, we're back. Sorry I didn't show you me torquing the bolts on, but I looked it up and one site said 9 foot-pounds. The Haynes manual said 96 to 120 inch-pounds, and I converted the inch-pounds on the internet. 120 inch-pounds come out to 10 foot-pounds, which seemed too much to me, so I tightened mine to 8 foot-pounds, but I recommend you look it up and and decide for yourself. Anyway, we're going to put the transmission fluid in. So you just flip that up, pull your dipstick, which comes out quite hard. There. Now, it calls for 4.7 liters when you change the fluid and filter. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to put about 4.5 liters in first, and I'm going to take it for a drive, probably 5-10 minute drive to warm it up, and then you check it with the engine still running. And before you check it, you just go through all the gears, just hold them for, I don't know, 5 seconds or so, and then check it, and then add more if you need to. The thing is, you don't want to overfill your transmission. So anyway, you want to make sure you use a good funnel. And what I'm using for transmission fluid today is Valvoline Max Life. It's full synthetic automatic transmission fluid, and it's recommended for this car. This here, I can't remember I think this has to have at least Dextron 3, and this here's compatible with Dextron 3 or Dextron 4, I'm not sure, but anyway, this here is compatible. So I'm going to put about 4.5 liters in. This jug is 5 liters. Have to be patient. Don't try putting it in too fast. I'm just gonna try to get an idea what's left in the jug here. Okay, well, I say we're close to 4.5. So anyway, so put 4.5 in it for now. Warm it up. I'm not going to drive it hard, so it won't hurt nothing if it is a little bit low.
So guys, the battery went dead on the camera. So after this, I took the car out, drove it for probably 10 minutes, come back, checked it. It was a little bit low. I added some more, took the car back out, run it for 5 minutes or so, and checked it, and it was perfect. So anyway, guys, thanks for watching, and we'll catch you in the next one.
Lock it in. Okay, I'm gonna go for a drive.